You ever feel like you're always the one reaching out, and it starts to wear on you? Like your phone stays quiet unless you send the first message. That silence can sting, not because you need constant contact, but because you want to feel wanted too. Good news? You don't have to chase. You don't have to play games. And you definitely don't have to pretend to be someone you're not. Here are 5 honest, human ways to make someone text you first, without manipulation, without tricks, and without losing yourself in the process. These aren't theories pulled from thin air. They're grounded in how real people connect, how attention naturally flows, and how self-worth quietly shapes every interaction you have. Number 1, be genuinely interesting, not just available. Let's clear something up right away. Being interesting doesn't mean you have to be a performer, a world traveler, or someone with 1 million followers. Real interest comes from depth, not drama. It comes from the way you pay attention to the world, to others, and even to your own shifting thoughts. When you're only available but not engaged, when you reply quickly but say nothing that lingers, you become background noise. People don't miss background noise. They miss the voice that made them think, laugh, or feel seen. Start small. Share something you noticed today that no one else would have. Maybe it was how the light hit the trees on your walk, or a line from a song that echoed in your head all afternoon. Maybe it was a frustration you turned into a lesson. That's the stuff people remember. And when you live like that, curious, reflective, present, you naturally become someone others want to reconnect with. Not because you're trying to impress, but because your presence adds texture to their day. You don't need to be loud to be magnetic. You just need to be real. And remember, being interesting isn't about collecting experiences to show off. It's about how you process life. Do you reflect? Do you learn? Do you share insights? Not just updates? That's what creates pull. Number 2, create natural gaps, then fill them meaningfully. Constant availability kills anticipation. When you're always there, replying within seconds, online 24/7, you remove the natural rhythm of human connection. There's no space for the other person to wonder, to miss you, to feel the gentle pull of your absence. This isn't about playing games. It's about honoring your own life. Go live it. Take your time to respond when you're truly present, not just scrolling. Let hours, or even a day, pass if that's what your energy needs. But here's where most people go wrong. They disappear without ever coming back with something worth sharing. The gap only works if what follows it matters. So when you do reach out, don't default to, hey. Instead, send that photo of the book you just finished with a note about why it stuck with you. Text them a voice note saying, I heard this song and instantly thought of our conversation last week. Mention the bakery you tried that made you remember their favorite pastry. You're not creating distance. You're creating moments worth returning to. And people will text you first just to step back into that feeling. Also, don't confuse silence with disinterest. Sometimes the space you give lets the other person realize how much they actually enjoy talking to you. But if you never leave space, they'll never get the chance to miss you. Number 3, ask questions that invite stories, not just answers. Most conversations die because they're built on dead-end questions. How are you? Gets fine. What's new? Gets not much. Those questions don't invite connection. They invite closure. Flip the script. Ask questions that open doors instead of closing them. Instead of, did you like the movie? Try, what part of the movie stayed with you after it ended? Instead of, how was your trip? Ask, what surprised you most about being there? These questions do 2 things. They show you're actually listening, and they give the other person permission to be more than a surface-level reply. You're saying, I'm not just checking a box. I want to know how your mind works. And when someone feels deeply heard, even over text, they'll seek that feeling again. They'll text you just to keep that rare kind of conversation going. This isn't manipulation. It's generosity. You're giving them the gift of being fully seen. And that's something people chase without even realizing why. Number 4, be consistent in your energy, not your availability. You don't need to text every day to stay connected, but you do need to be emotionally reliable. Think about the people you text first. Chances are, they're not the ones who reply instantly. They're the ones who always feel like themselves. Warm, thoughtful, steady. Even if it's been a week when you talk, it picks up like no time passed. That's consistency of energy, not frequency. If you're excited one day and cold the next, if your tone shifts based on your mood, or whether they replied fast enough, people learn to walk on eggshells. They stop initiating because they don't know which version of you they'll get. But if your kindness, Honesty and presence stay steady, regardless of how often you talk. You build trust, and trust is the foundation of real connection. People will text you first because they know you won't make them guess where they stand with you. In a world full of mixed signals, that kind of clarity is a quiet superpower. Number 5, focus on your own life so fully that you forget to wait for their text. This is the one that changes everything. When you're constantly checking your phone, replaying old messages, or crafting the perfect reply in your head, you're not just wasting time. You're handing your peace over to someone else's behavior. But when you pour your energy into your own growth, your work, your hobbies, your friendships, your rest, something shifts. You stop needing validation from a single person. You stop measuring your worth by who replies first. And that freedom, it radiates. People notice when you're not orbiting them. They notice when your life feels full without them in every moment. It doesn't make them jealous. It makes them curious. What are they doing? Why do they seem so at peace? That curiosity often turns into a text, not because you forced it, but because you became someone whose presence feels like a gift, not a given. And if they never text first, that's information too. It tells you they're not as invested as you are, and that's not a failure on your part. It's clarity. Let's be honest. None of these strategies work if your goal is control. You can't make someone care, but you can become someone who attracts care, naturally, quietly, sustainably. This isn't about getting more texts. It's about building a life so rich, so grounded, that your connections deepen without you having to beg for them. When you stop waiting for permission to be valued, you start living like someone who already is. And that energy, it draws people in, not because you're trying, but because you finally stopped pretending you need them to feel whole. You are whole, and the right people will want to be part of that. Not out of obligation, but because your presence makes their world brighter. If this resonated with you, if you've ever felt stuck in that exhausting cycle of overthinking, who should message first? I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me, which of these 5 points hit you the hardest? Was it the idea of creating space, asking better questions, or maybe the reminder that your life is worth focusing on, regardless of who's texting you? Even better, share one thing you're going to do differently this week to show up more fully in your own life. Maybe it's journaling for 10 minutes instead of scrolling. Maybe it's calling a friend just to listen. Maybe it's finally starting that project you've put off. Your comment might be the exact thing someone else needs to hear today. Don't underestimate the power of sharing your truth, even in a few words. And if this video helped you see your worth a little more clearly, do me a quick favor. Hit that like button. It takes 2 seconds, but it tells YouTube this message matters and helps more people who feel unseen find their way here. Then tap subscribe. We don't do flashy gimmicks on this channel, just real talk about relationships, self-respect, and building a life that feels good from the inside out. New videos drop every week with practical, no-nonsense advice that actually works in real life, not just in theory. Thanks for watching. Now go live so fully that your phone buzzing feels like a sweet surprise, not a measure of your value. You've got this, and you're not alone.